They were about to sign the biggest deal of the year when Cecilia Moore collapsed. She hit the cold boardroom floor hard, right in front of the man who came to invest. For a few seconds, nobody moved. Some thought she had overworked herself. Others assumed she was simply fragile. But Kwon Do-jin didn't see an exhausted secretary. He saw the bruises poorly hidden beneath her makeup. He saw the tremor of fear in her eyes. He saw something that had no place in a respectable company. In that moment, the man who came as an investor stopped being one. The deal died on the table, and something far more dangerous was born. Hey family, before this story begins, I want you to do something real quick. Drop a comment below and tell me where you're watching from. Your comments fuel these stories. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button, because what happens next will leave you speechless. Cecilia Moore learned very early that the elevator to the 34th floor felt like a coffin when you already knew what waited for you at the top. She stood inside it with her shoulders straight and her back stiff, her reflection staring back at her from the mirrored walls. Her lipstick was perfect. Her hair was neat. The thin layer of foundation hid most things. Not everything, but most things. The bruise near her cheekbone was still there, faint, yellowing at the edges. She had spent 10 full minutes this morning trying to make it disappear. The elevator dinged. She didn't move immediately. She took one breath, then another. Then she stepped out. The cross-global office floor was already alive. Phones ringing, keyboards clicking, laughter from somewhere near the coffee machine, people in clean suits and expensive shoes, walking like nothing in the world could touch them. Cece walked past them and no one looked at her twice. That was normal. She went to her desk, placed her bag down, and opened her laptop. Her schedule was already insane. Meetings, calls, emails she had answered last night that still needed follow-ups this morning. Good morning, Cece. She flinched before she could stop herself. Lily Carter stood beside her desk with a forced smile and worry in her eyes. You're early again, Lily said softly. Cece gave a tight smile. Someone has to be. Lily's eyes flicked to her face, to the faint shadow under the makeup. I'm fine, Cece said quickly, too quickly. Did he arrive yet? Lily swallowed. He's in a mood. When was he not? Cece nodded and stood up. I'll take his schedule. Lily hesitated, then grabbed her wrist gently. Cece, you don't have to. It's my job, Cece said. She gently pulled her hand back. I'll be okay. They both knew that wasn't true. Cecilia walked to the large glass door at the end of the corridor. The name on it read, Sebastian Cross, CEO. She knocked. Get in. His voice was sharp, already angry. She opened the door and stepped inside. Sebastian Cross was standing by the window, his back to her, phone pressed to his ear. I don't care what it costs, he snapped. Fix it. Now. He ended the call and turned. His eyes went straight to her face, then narrowed. You're late. I'm not, sir, Cece said calmly. It's 8:57. He glanced at his watch, then back at her. His jaw tightened. So now you're correcting me? No, sir. He walked closer. Too close. She could smell his cologne. Expensive. Heavy. His gaze dropped to her cheek. What happened to your face? Her heart skipped. Nothing. His hand moved fast, not hard enough to knock her down, hard enough to remind her. Her head snapped to the side. She didn't cry out. She never did. You're getting careless, he said quietly. Do you think people won't notice? I'm sorry, she said, her voice steady even, though her ears were ringing. He grabbed her chin and forced her to look at him. You exist because I allow it, Cecilia. She said nothing. Your job, your money, your mother's hospital bills. Her fingers curled slightly at her sides. Don't forget that. He released her and stepped back like nothing had happened. Where's my schedule? She handed him the tablet. He scrolled, then frowned. Why is this meeting still here? Because you said... I said cancel it. You said maybe. His eyes darkened. She knew that look. I'll cancel it, she said quickly. Good. He tossed the tablet back at her. And make me coffee. Strong. If it tastes like water, you'll regret it. Yes, sir. She turned to leave. And Cece, he added. She stopped. He smiled. You look prettier when you don't argue. Her fingers tightened around the tablet. She walked out without another word. In the corridor, Lily was at that, waiting. How did it go? She asked quietly. Cece didn't answer. She went to the pantry instead. Lily followed. He hit you again, didn't he? Cece poured coffee into a cup, her hands steady. Lower your voice, she said. Cece, this is getting worse. It's always been like this. Lily's eyes were shiny. You can report him. They both laughed, not because it was funny. He owns half the people in this city, Cece said. If I report him, I'll disappear, or my mother will. Lily looked away. I'm sorry, Lily whispered. Cece carried the coffee back to his office. Sebastian took one sip and threw the cup into the trash. Make another. She did. This one he drank. Good, he said. Now sit. She sat in the chair across from his desk. You've been sloppy lately, he said. Distracted. Tired. She said nothing. You think I don't notice? He leaned back. You should be grateful I'm patient. Her nails dug into her palms. There's a gala tomorrow night, he continued. Pre-investment event. You're coming with me. Yes, sir. You'll wear something decent, not like a poor secretary. Yes, sir. And you'll behave. She met his eyes. I always do. His smile was thin. You always do what I tell you. He stood up and walked around the desk again. She tensed. He stopped behind her. His hand landed on her shoulder. She froze. You should be careful, Cece, he murmured near her ear. You wouldn't want anything to happen to your mother. Her breath hitched. His hand squeezed. Then he walked away like nothing had happened. Get out. I have calls. She stood and left. In the bathroom, she locked herself in a stall and pressed her forehead to the wall. Don't cry, don't cry, don't cry. Her phone buzzed. Hospital. Her heart jumped. She answered. Yes? Mrs. Moore's oxygen. Supply is running low again, the nurse said. We'll need payment today. I'll send it, Cece said immediately. Please don't stop it. She ended the call and checked her account balance. Almost empty, but still enough. She sent the money. Then she closed her eyes and breathed. At least her mother was still alive. When she returned to her desk, Lily looked at her with worry. There's something else, Lily said. The Korean investor is confirmed. The big one. Cece paused. The one everyone is afraid of. Yes, Kwon Do-jin. She had heard the name. Everyone had. He's coming for the pitch next week, Lily said, but he'll be at the gala tomorrow. Sebastian's door opened. Cece, he called. Come here. She stood up. As she walked toward his office, Lily grabbed her hand for a second. Please be careful, Lily whispered. Cece nodded. She stepped back into the lion's den, not knowing that somewhere in this city, a man who owned both boardrooms and underworlds would soon notice the bruise she tried so hard to hide, and that her quiet suffering was already counting down to its end. Cecilia knew the moment Sebastian Cross walked out of his office that it was going to be a bad day. She could tell by the way he loosened his tie, by the way his eyes didn't go to his schedule first, but to her. Cece, he said, his voice too calm, come here. The entire floor heard him. Everyone always did. She stood up from her desk slowly and walked toward him. Yes, sir? He didn't answer. He just looked at her. From her face, to her neck, to the way her blouse fit. His mouth curved slightly. You know, he said, you really should stop pretending you don't know what you're doing. I don't understand, sir. He stepped closer. She took a step back. He noticed. That amused him. You come in here every day looking like that, he said quietly, and then you act innocent. I'm dressed professionally, she said. He laughed softly. Don't lie to me. He reached out and brushed his fingers against her waist. She flinched immediately and stepped away. Please don't, she said. His eyes darkened. There, he said. That look, that little act. I'm not acting, I just want to work. Work? He moved closer again. Then why do you always look so nervous around me? Because you hurt me. She didn't say it, she just said, Please, sir, I have things to do. She tried to step past him. He grabbed her wrist, not gently. So you can dress like this, look at me like that, and then walk away? I don't look at you like anything, she said, trying to pull free. Let me go. You're the one who keeps tempting me, he said. You think I'm blind? I'm not, she said. Her voice was shaking now. I just want to work. He shoved her back, against the edge of the desk, hard enough to make her gasp. Stop pretending you're not asking for it, he said. I'm not, she said. I've never. His hand came out of nowhere. The slap echoed. A few heads lifted outside the glass walls, then quickly turned away. She tasted blood. Don't raise your voice at me, he said calmly. She stood there, stunned, breathing fast. You always do this, he continued. You get me interested, then you act like a victim. That's not true, she whispered. He leaned closer. If you really didn't want this, you would have left a long time ago. Her chest tightened. You can go now, he said, stepping back, before I lose my patience completely. She turned and walked out on shaking legs. The office grew quieter as the hours passed. By 7 in the evening, most people were already gone. By 8, only a few lights were still on. By 9, the entire floor felt like a graveyard. Cecilia was still at her desk. Her eyes burned from staring at the screen. Her shoulders ached. Her head throbbed. She checked the time again, 9:14 p.m. She stood up and walked to Sebastian's office. The glass door was closed, but the lights were on. She knocked. Come in. He was sitting behind his desk, jacket off, sleeves rolled up, looking irritated. I've finished reorganizing the presentation files, she said. I'll send them to your email and... You're not leaving, he said. She froze. Sir, you're not leaving until I'm satisfied everything is perfect. I've done everything you asked. He looked at her slowly. I'll decide that. She swallowed. It's late. So? I have to be back early tomorrow for the pitch. He stood up. That's exactly why you're staying. Her heart started to beat faster. I'll stay another hour, she said carefully, but then I really need to go. He walked around the desk. You don't get to negotiate with me, Cece. I'm not negotiating, she said. I'm just what? He stopped in front of her. Trying to leave again? I'm tired. He smiled. You always are. She stepped back. He stepped forward. Why do you look so nervous? He asked. You're acting like you're scared of me. I'm not, she lied. Then stop backing away. She didn't. His hand reached for her wrist. She pulled back immediately. Don't touch me. There it was, that switch in his eyes. So now you're playing this game again, he said. You stay here late with me. You come into my office, and then you pretend you don't know what you're doing. I'm here because you ordered me to be, she said, not because I want to be. You don't have to lie, he said. You think I don't see the way you dress? The way you look at me? I don't. Look at you, she said. I avoid you. That's just another kind of teasing. She shook her head. Please, let me go. He laughed softly. Every time, he said. You get close, then you act like a victim. I've never gotten close to you, she said, her voice starting to shake. He stepped closer. She stepped back until her back hit the edge of the desk. "You're the one who keeps coming back," he said, "day after day." "Because I need this job," she said. "And why do you need it so badly?" he asked. Who are you so desperate to please?" She didn't answer. His hand slid to her waist. She shoved it away immediately. "No." His face hardened. "There," he said coldly. "That attitude." "I told you to stop touching me." "You don't get to tell me what to do," he said. "Not when you're the one who keeps provoking me." "I'm not provoking you." He grabbed her arm and pushed her harder, against the desk. "You come in here looking like that," he said. "Then you act surprised when I want you." "I come in here dressed like an employee," she said. "Nothing else." Liar. She tried to push him away again. That was when he hit her. The first slap stunned her. The second knocked the breath out of her. She cried out this time. "Stop pretending you're innocent," he said. "You're the one who keeps seducing me." "I'm not," she sobbed. "I've never—" He shoved her again. She hit the side of the desk and slid down slightly before catching herself. "You think you're better than me?" he snapped. "You think you can walk into my office every day and say no to me?" "I just want to work," she said, crying now. "Please, just let me go." "Not tonight," he said. She looked at him in horror. "Please, I have the presentation tomorrow. I need to rest." "You should have thought about that before you started playing games with me," he said. "I didn't play any games." He grabbed her shoulders and shook her. "Everything you do is a game," he said. "The way you look, the way you talk, the way you pretend you don't know what you're doing to me." She tried to pull away. He hit her again, hard. She fell to the floor this time. Her head was spinning. Her ears were ringing. She tried to crawl away. He followed. "Look at you," he said, "always acting so helpless." She curled into herself. "Please," she whispered. "Please stop." He kicked the door shut behind him. "You don't get to decide when this ends," he said. "I do." She shook her head in panic. "You're going to ruin everything. The pitch." "You should be thinking about me, not the pitch." She tried to stand. He pushed her back down. "Stay there." She sobbed quietly, covering her face. "I hate this job," she cried. "I hate this place. I hate—" He slapped her again. "Don't you dare talk to me like that," he said. She tasted blood. "You're nothing without me," he continued. "Do you know that? Nothing. No job, no money, no hospital bills paid." Her chest tightened. "Your mother," he added softly. "She needs that oxygen, doesn't she?" She froze. "Don't," she whispered. "You think I don't know everything about you?" he said. "You walk out that door, and I make one call. One. And that machine stops." She broke. She started crying openly. "Please," she begged. "I'll do anything. Just let me go home." He looked at her for a long moment. Then he stepped back. "You always say that," he said, "and then you start teasing me again." "I won't," she said desperately. "I swear." He straightened his shirt. "Get up." She struggled to her feet. "You look disgusting," he said. "Fix yourself." She wiped her face with shaking hands. "Get out," he said, "before I change my mind." She didn't wait. She grabbed her bag and stumbled out of the office. The building was empty. The elevator ride down felt endless. Outside, the night air was cold. She walked home like a ghost. In her apartment, she sat on the bathroom floor and cried without sound. Then her phone rang. The hospital. She answered with shaking hands. "Mrs. Moore's oxygen supply is almost finished," the nurse said. "We need the payment tonight or early tomorrow morning." Cece looked at her account. Almost nothing left. She still sent it. "At least she's alive," Cece whispered to herself. She took a long shower. She covered the bruises as best as she could. She swallowed 2 painkillers and drank too much coffee. Then, without sleeping, she went back to work, because she had no choice, and because the pitch was in a few hours. Cecilia arrived at the office before most people. She'd not really slept. She'd only closed her eyes for a few minutes at a time, waking up every time she moved, and pain shot through her body. Her face felt swollen. Her ribs ached. Her head was still heavy from the painkillers and too much coffee. She stood in the bathroom for a long time, fixing her makeup, covering, hiding, pretending. By the time she stepped out, she looked acceptable. Not good, but acceptable. She walked to her desk like nothing had happened, like she hadn't been on the floor of Sebastian Cross's office a few hours ago, begging him to let her go. Lily arrived a few minutes later. She stopped short when she saw Cece. "Oh my God," Lily whispered. "I'm fine," Cece said immediately. "You're not." "Lower your voice." Lily's eyes were full of panic. "Did he—" "I said I'm fine." Lily swallowed. "You're shaking." Cece forced a small smile. "Just tired." They both knew that wasn't it. Sebastian arrived at exactly 9 o'clock. Perfect suit, perfect hair, perfect mood, like nothing had happened. He walked past Cece's desk without looking at her. "Coffee," he said. She stood up and went to get it. When she brought it in, he looked at her for a long second. His eyes went to her cheek, then to the way she moved, slowly, carefully. A small, satisfied smile touched his lips. "You look better when you're quiet," he said. She said nothing. He took the coffee and waved her away. "Busy day," he added. "Don't make mistakes." She left his office. The rest of the morning was hell. Phone calls, last-minute changes, executives shouting, tension everywhere. The pitch was scheduled for the afternoon. Everyone was nervous. Everyone was on edge. Cece worked without stopping. At some point, Lily whispered, "You should go home. You don't look okay." "I can't," Cece said. "Not today." Sebastian called her into his office again around noon. "Sit," he said. She did. He leaned back in his chair. "You didn't sleep, did you?" She said nothing. He smiled. "Good. You'll remember this day better." Her fingers curled into her palms. "After today," he continued, "everything changes." She looked at him. "When Quan Do Jin signs that contract," he said, "no one will ever touch me." She felt cold. "And you," he added, "will still be mine." Her breath caught. "You don't get to leave," he said softly. "Ever." She stood up suddenly. "I need to prepare the boardroom," she said, "for the meeting." He watched her for a few seconds, then nodded. "Go." The boardroom was already being prepared. Everything was perfect. Too perfect. The Korean investor was scheduled to arrive at 3. At 2:30, Sebastian gathered the executives. At 2:45, everyone was seated. Cece stood at the side with the files and the tablet. Her vision swam. Her hands were shaking. She told herself to focus. "Just get through this. Just this." The door opened. Kwon Do-jin walked in. The room seemed to hold its breath. He was calm, unhurried. His presence filled the space without effort. People stood. Hands were shaken. Introductions were made. Cece kept her eyes down. The presentation started. Sebastian spoke confidently. The slides changed. Numbers, projections, promises. Cece passed files when asked. Her head was pounding now. Her chest felt tight. The room felt too hot. She tried to breathe. "Don't fall. Not here. Not now." Her vision blurred. She took one step, then another. And then the world tilted. The last thing she felt was the floor rushing up to meet her. And the last thing she heard was someone calling her name. When Cecilia opened her eyes, the first thing she saw was a white ceiling. For a moment, she didn't know where she was. Then pain rushed back into her body, and memory followed right behind it. She tried to move and winced. "Don't," a voice said calmly. "You're awake." She turned her head slowly. She was in a private clinic room. An IV was attached to her hand. The air smelled clean and expensive, and standing near the window was a man she recognized immediately. Kwon Do-jin. She tried to sit up in panic. I'm sorry, she said. I didn't mean to. Stay still, he said. His voice was low, controlled. You fainted. Her eyes flicked around. The meeting, the presentation. It's been postponed, he said. What about Mr. Cross? She asked. For a second, something cold passed through his eyes. He is busy. She swallowed. I'm really sorry. I ruined everything. You didn't ruin anything, he said. She didn't know why, but the way he said it made her chest tighten. A doctor came in a moment later. She's exhausted, dehydrated, and in pain, the doctor said. She also has several bruises in different stages of healing. Sichi's fingers tightened on the sheet. Sebastian's voice cut in from the doorway. She's clumsy, always has been. Kwon Do-jin turned slowly. Is she? He asked. Sebastian laughed. You know how assistants are. Overworked, dramatic. Kwon Do-jin didn't smile. He looked at the doctor. How long does she need to rest? At least today, preferably longer. She will stay, Kwon Do-jin said. Sebastian's jaw tightened. With all due respect, she works for me. Kwon Do-jin looked at him. With all due respect, he replied. She is a human being. The room went very quiet. I will reschedule, Kwon Do-jin continued. The deal can wait. Sebastian forced a smile. Of course, her health comes first. Kwon Do-jin's gaze stayed on him for a long second. Then he turned back to Cece. You will rest, he said. Someone will bring you clothes and food. I don't need... That wasn't a suggestion. Sebastian laughed lightly. You're very kind. Kwon Do-jin did not look at him. When they left, the room felt strangely safe. Later that evening, Lily came rushing in. Oh my God, Cece, she said, almost crying. Are you okay? I think so, Cece said softly. The whole office is in chaos, Lily whispered. Mr. Cross is furious. Cece looked away. Did you see him? Lily asked carefully. The investor? Cece nodded. He stayed, Lily said. He arranged everything. Cece said nothing. She slept. For the first time in a long while, she slept without nightmares. That night, in a completely different building, Kwon Do-jin sat in silence while two men stood in front of him. Tell me everything, he said. The company or the girl? One of them asked. Both. They began to speak. By the time they finished, the room was very quiet. Check the security cameras, Kwon Do-jin said. Not just today. Weeks. Months. Yes, sir. And Sebastian Cross, he added. I want everything. Yes, sir. He looked out at the city lights. She didn't faint because she's weak, he said quietly. The next morning, Cece woke up to find fresh clothes folded neatly on a chair and a note. Rest. You are safe today. She stared at it for a long time, and for the first time in years, she believed it might be true. Cecilia had been home for 2 days, and she still hadn't stopped listening for the sound of her phone, or the knock on the door, or footsteps in the corridor. Sebastian Cross had trained her to expect him even when he wasn't there. She sat on the edge of her bed, staring at the wall, her mother asleep behind her, the oxygen machine humming softly like a reminder of the only reason she was still standing. Lily had visited earlier. He's furious, Lily had whispered. He keeps asking when you're coming back. Cece had said nothing. She had no answer to that. Now she was alone again. The apartment was quiet. Too quiet. Her phone rang. She flinched so hard she almost dropped it. Unknown number. Her heart started pounding. For a second, she thought it was him. She answered with shaking fingers. Hello? This is Kwon Do-jin. She froze. Yes, Yes, sir? How are you feeling? I'm better, she said. That was a lie, but a polite one. There was a short pause. You will not return to work yet, he said. Her chest tightened. I don't think that's my decision. It is now. She swallowed. Mr. Cross won't allow that. That is no longer your concern. His voice was calm. Too calm. It carried the kind of certainty that didn't argue. She didn't know what to say. I have spoken to your doctor, he continued. You are officially on medical leave, with pay. I don't understand why you're doing this. Because you collapsed in front of me, he said simply. And people don't collapse like that for no reason. Her fingers tightened around the phone. I'm fine, she said automatically. No, he replied. You're not. The words hit too close. She was quiet. Cecilia, he said, using her name for the first time, I want to ask you something, and I want an honest answer. Her throat felt tight. Okay. Is Sebastian Cross hurting you? Silence filled the room. Her mother shifted slightly in her sleep. The oxygen machine continued its slow, steady rhythm. Her voice broke. You don't have to protect him, Kwon Do-jin said, and you don't have to be afraid of me. She almost laughed at that. Almost. You don't understand, she whispered. If I say anything, he has already crossed the line, Kwon Do-jin said. The only question is how long he has been doing it. Tears filled her eyes. She wiped them angrily. You can't help me. That is not your decision to make. She closed her eyes. Memories rushed in. His office, his hands, his voice, his threats, her mother, the oxygen, the trap. Yes, she whispered. He is. Kwon Do-jin did not react immediately. When he spoke again, his voice was colder. How? She told him. Not everything, but enough. About the touching, the accusations, the way he said she was asking for it, the way he hit her when she tried to leave, the way he used her mother against her. By the time she finished, she was shaking. I didn't want to tell anyone, she said quietly. It only makes things worse. You will not return to that office, he said. He will come for me, she whispered. No, Kwon Do-jin replied. He will not. She wanted to believe that. I will handle Sebastian Cross, he said. Your only job right now is to recover. What if he fires me? There was a pause. Then, he will not fire you, Kwon Do-jin said. He will be far too busy. She didn't understand what that meant, but something in his tone made her shiver. Tomorrow, he continued, I would like to see you, somewhere public, somewhere safe. Why? Because this should not happen over the phone, he said, and because I want you to understand something. What? You are not alone anymore. The line went dead. Cece sat there for a long time, staring at the phone in her hand, for the first time in a very long time. Someone new, and for the first time in a very long time. She felt something that almost looked like hope. They met at a quiet cafe not far from the clinic. Cecilia arrived early. She chose a table near the window where people were passing by constantly, where there were too many eyes for anything bad to happen. She kept checking the door. Every time it opened, her heart jumped. When he finally walked in, the entire room seemed to notice him before she did. Kwon Do-jin did not look like someone who needed to announce himself. He was dressed simply. Dark coat, no visible security, but the space around him still felt controlled. He saw her immediately and walked over. Cecilia, he said. She stood up awkwardly. Sir. Sit, he said gently. They sat across from each other. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Are you afraid right now? He asked. She hesitated. A little. That is honest, he said. Good. A waitress came. Orders were taken. Then they were alone again. You do not have to tell me anything you do not want to, Kwon Do-jin said, but I need to understand the situation clearly. She looked at her hands. He is not always violent, she said quietly. Sometimes he is nice. That's the worst part. It makes you doubt yourself. Abuse often works that way, Kwon Do-jin said. She looked up, surprised. You are not the first person I have seen this happen to, he continued. Just the first who collapsed in front of me. Her mouth trembled. He says it's my fault, she whispered. He says I look at him a certain way, that I dress a certain way, that I invite it. That is a lie, Kwon Do-jin said immediately. She swallowed. I know, but when someone tells you something every day, you start to believe it, he finished. She nodded. He says if I leave, my mother will die, she said. And I believe that too. His eyes darkened. I have already taken care of your medical bills, he said calmly. She stared at him. What? Your mother's treatment. The oxygen. Everything. It is covered. Tears filled her eyes instantly. I can't accept that. You can, he said, and you will. Why? She whispered. He was quiet for a moment. Then he said, because I saw you before you collapsed. She looked at him, confused. At the gala, he continued, you were standing behind him. Everyone was laughing. You were not. Her breath caught. You turned your face slightly, he said, and I saw a bruise under your makeup. Her fingers tightened around her cup. I noticed the way you flinched when he touched you, he said, and the way you looked like you were waiting for something bad to happen. He paused. I became curious, he said. Then I became uncomfortable. And then I could not stop watching. She couldn't speak. By the time you collapsed in that meeting, he said quietly, I was already looking for a reason to destroy that company. I just did not know yet that the reason was him. Her eyes widened. You don't have to do this, she whispered. It's dangerous. He looked at her steadily. Sebastian Cross is already finished, he said. He just doesn't know it yet. She shook her head. You don't understand. He's powerful. He owns. So do I, Kwon Do-jin said calmly. Something in his voice made her believe him. You will not go back to that office, he said. You will stay away. You will heal. And you will let me handle this. What if he comes to my house? She asked. He will not, Kwon Do-jin said. And if he tries, he will regret it. She stared at him. Why are you helping me? She asked again. He was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, because some things should not be allowed to exist. She looked away, wiping her eyes. For the first time, someone wasn't asking her to endure. They were telling her it was over. Sebastian Cross realized something was wrong the day Cece did not come back. Not the first day, not even the second. On the third day, he started breaking things. Where is she? He demanded, slamming his hand on the desk. No one has heard from her, sir, his assistant said nervously. That's impossible, Sebastian snapped. She doesn't disappear. She doesn't have the courage. He grabbed his phone and called her again, straight to voicemail. He tried Lily. She didn't answer either. His jaw tightened. Find her, he said. Now. By afternoon, the calls started coming in. The legal department, the finance department, partners, banks. There were questions. Auditors wanted documents. Accounts were being reviewed. Transactions were being frozen. Sebastian felt the ground shift under his feet. What is happening? He demanded. No one is saying, sir, one of the executives replied, but something big is happening. Sebastian laughed, too loudly. This is nonsense, he said. I have everything under control. He went back to his office and poured himself a drink. Then his phone rang. Unknown number. He answered. Who is this? Kwon Do-jin, the voice said. Sebastian went very still. "We need to talk," Sebastian said immediately, forcing a smile into his voice. "There's been a misunderstanding. About my assistant." "There has been no misunderstanding," Kwon Do-jin replied. Sebastian's grip tightened around the phone. "You are under the impression that you control everything in your company," Kwon Do-jin continued calmly. "That is no longer true." Sebastian felt a cold chill run down his spine. "What do you want?" he asked. "You already know," Kwon Do-jin said. "But let me make it simple. You will never see Cecilia Moore again." Sebastian's face twisted. "She belongs to me." There was a short silence. Then, "No," Kwon Do-jin said. "She does not." Sebastian laughed, but his voice was shaking now. "You think you can just take what's mine?" "I do not take," Kwon Do-jin replied. "I remove." The line went dead. Sebastian threw the phone across the room. That night he went to Cece's apartment. He knocked, then banged. No answer. The neighbor opened the door and frowned. "Who are you?" "I'm her boss." "She doesn't live here anymore," the woman said. "Some people came and helped her move." Sebastian's blood ran cold. The next morning, the news broke inside the company. A full audit, a temporary freeze on several accounts, 2 major partners pulling out, meetings were canceled, panic spread. Sebastian stood in the middle of the chaos, smiling and pretending everything was fine. Inside, he was burning. He went to his office and found 2 men waiting for him. They were polite. That was worse. "Mr. Cross," one of them said, "we need to ask you some questions." "On whose authority?" Sebastian snapped. "Kwon Do-jin's," the man replied. Sebastian's smile finally cracked. Cecilia was in a quiet apartment she had never seen before. It was small, clean, safe. She sat on the couch, holding a cup of tea she had forgotten to drink. Her phone buzzed. A message. "He cannot reach you anymore." Her chest tightened. Another message came a few seconds later. "It has started." She didn't need to ask what that meant. She stood up and walked to the window. For the first time in a very long time, the city did not feel like a cage. Sebastian Cross spent the night in his office. By morning, he understood something very clearly. He was not in control anymore, and whoever was doing this was not going to stop. The building that once made Sebastian Cross feel untouchable now felt like a trap. By noon, the lobby was full of people who were not supposed to be there. Lawyers, auditors, investigators, employees whispered in corners. Phones would not stop ringing. Sebastian sat in his office staring at the door, waiting for it to open. And it did. 2 men walked in again. This time, they were not alone. "Mr. Cross," one of them said calmly, "you need to come with us." "On what grounds?" Sebastian snapped. "Fraud, coercion, abuse of power," the man replied, "and several other charges that are still being reviewed." Sebastian laughed. "This is a joke. You don't have anything on me." One of the men placed a file on his desk. "Then you should not be afraid to look." Sebastian opened it. His face changed. Bank records, emails, video stills, his office, Cece, him blocking the door, him grabbing her, him hitting her. "This is fabricated," he said, his voice tight. "No," the man replied, "it is not." Sebastian's phone rang, his lawyer, then another call, and another. "Your accounts have been frozen," the man said. "Your partners have withdrawn. Your board has voted to remove you." Sebastian stood up suddenly. "You think this ends me?" he shouted. "Do you know who I am?" "Yes," the man said. "That is why this is happening." They took him out of his office in front of everyone. People watched. Some looked shocked. Some looked relieved. Some looked guilty. Sebastian Cross did not look back. Cecilia watched the news from the small living room. She sat very still, Lily sat beside her, holding her hand. "They arrested him," Lily whispered. Cece nodded. Her chest felt tight. Not with fear, with something else. "He can't hurt you anymore," Lily said. Cece wanted to believe that. That evening, Kwon Do-jin came to see her. He stood in the doorway for a moment before stepping inside. "It is over," he said. She looked up at him. "Is it?" "For you," he said. "Yes." She took a shaky breath. "What about the company?" "It will not survive," he said calmly. "Not in its current form." She nodded slowly. "And him? He will not be a problem again." She studied his face. "Thank you," she said. He looked at her for a long moment. Then he said, "This was not a favor." She didn't understand. "You did not deserve what happened to you," he said. "That is all." Tears filled her eyes again. She wiped them quickly. "I don't know what to do now." "You rest," he said. "You heal. You decide what you want next." "And you?" she asked quietly. He hesitated for just a second. "I will still be here," he said. Later that night, Cecilia stood by the window alone. For the first time, she did not feel watched. For the first time, the silence did not feel dangerous. She touched her cheek where the bruises had been. They were fading, but she knew some things took longer. Still, she was free. Freedom felt strange. Cecilia did not know what to do with it at first. The days after Sebastian Cross's arrest were quiet. Too quiet. She kept expecting something bad to happen. A call, a knock, someone telling her it was all a mistake. Nothing came. She stayed in the small apartment Kwon Do-jin had arranged for her and her mother. Her mother was getting better. Slowly. The oxygen machine still hummed, but there were days when she could sit up and talk for longer. "You look lighter," her mother said one morning. "Like you can finally breathe." Cece smiled. "Maybe I can." She still had nightmares. Sometimes she woke up shaking, convinced she was back in that office. Those were the nights Kwon Do-jin would come, not to touch her, not to push, just to sit in the other chair in the room and wait until her breathing slowed. They did not talk much at first, but silence with him felt safe. One evening she finally said, "You don't have to keep doing this." "I know," he replied. "I want to." She looked at him for a long moment. "Why?" He thought about it. "Because you are still afraid," he said. "And because fear does not disappear just because the danger is gone." She swallowed. They started talking more after that, about small things, books, food, the city, sometimes about nothing at all, and sometimes about everything. One night she told him, "I still feel guilty." About what? About not leaving sooner, about staying. He looked at her steadily. "Survival is not something you apologize for." That stayed with her. Weeks passed. She started going outside again, started walking without looking over her shoulder every 5 seconds, started laughing sometimes. One afternoon, Lily came to visit. "You look like a different person," Lily said, smiling through tears. "I'm so proud of you." "I don't feel different," Cece admitted. "But maybe I am." That night, Kwon Do-jin came again. They sat on the balcony watching the city lights. "You can leave any time," he said suddenly. "You know that, right?" She looked at him. "You don't owe me anything." "I know, but I don't want you to stay because you feel you have to." She was quiet for a long time. Then she said, "What if I want to stay?" He looked at her, searching her face. "Then it will be your choice." She nodded. Her hand was resting on the table between them. Slowly, carefully, she moved it closer to his. He did not move. When her fingers touched his, he still did not move. He waited. She took a breath. Then she closed her hand around his. He looked at her. She looked at him. And then Because she wanted to. She leaned forward and kissed him. It was not rushed, not desperate, not hungry. It was gentle, careful. When she pulled back, her heart was racing. He did not chase her. He just said, "Are you okay?" She smiled softly. "Yes, I am." For the first time in a very long time, Cecilia felt like her life was finally her own. Sebastian Cross was sentenced quietly. There were no dramatic speeches, no public apology, no redemption, just numbers, charges, years. Cecilia did not attend the hearing. She did not need to see him again to know he was finished. Some chapters only need to be closed. Cross Global was broken apart and sold in pieces. The name disappeared. The building changed owners. People moved on, and slowly. So did she. Healing was not a straight line. Some days were good, some days were heavy. Sometimes she still woke up afraid, but those days came less and less. Her mother grew stronger. There were even mornings when she didn't need the oxygen for hours at a time. "You saved my life," her mother told her once. Cece shook her head. "No, I just refuse to let you die." That was the truth. She started working again, not as a secretary, not as someone's shadow. She took a job in a small publishing firm, quiet, normal, safe. The first time her boss raised his voice during a meeting, she froze. Then she realized he wasn't angry at her. He was just human. And she was free. Kwon Do-jin did not disappear from her life, but he never tried to control it. Some days he was there. Some days he wasn't. He never asked her to choose him. He just stayed close enough to be chosen. One evening, months later, they were sitting on the balcony again, watching the city. "Do you ever regret it?" she asked him quietly. "Regret what?" "Getting involved, destroying that company, changing everything." He thought for a moment. "No," he said. "Some things should be destroyed." She looked at him. "And some people should be saved," he added. She smiled. Time passed. The bruises faded. The fear faded. The memories became quieter. One day, she realized she had gone a full week without thinking about Sebastian Cross. She cried that night, not because she was sad, but because she was finally free. Sometimes, people think strength is loud. They think it looks like shouting, like fighting, like never breaking. But Cecilia learned something else. Strength is surviving when you are trapped. Strength is staying alive when someone is trying to erase you. Strength is choosing yourself after the world has taught you not to. If you were in Cecilia's place, would you have stayed as long as she did? Or would you have found a way to run sooner? Tell me in the comments what you think. And if this story touched you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Because sometimes, the most dangerous prisons are the ones no one else can see.